Welcome back to Open Contact TV. I'm Dave and this is Wendy.
Hello.
And today we're going to continue talking about the five because today's a very special day. But we're also going to be posting this on Wendy's Languages of Lights page on YouTube because it's also related to a lot of the things that she does on that page. So we want to welcome both viewers. The main reason why we're considering this an Open Contact TV type of video is because today we're going to include oracle cards. And I don't want to spill the beans yet, but the idea of open contact also includes raising your consciousness and connecting more to your higher self, which includes then connection to other things and ETs and open contact. And the oracle cards are signs and symbols that are used to help connect you to those things. So it really does fall into the category of open contact as well. So today we're going to include this video in both categories.
Yeah.
And funny, but the idea of sort of different categories, but really the same thing.
Yes, it kind of is. I just realized too that I got this light coming in through the window and it's right down the center here. So I just realized too I don't have my hair there. Okay, I got it. Okay. Pardon me.
So why don't you tell us about why today is so special and what it has to do with five? And welcome all beings.
Welcome all physical and non-physical beings.
And especially the five.
The five. And yes, they've been very active in chatting with me today. So whichever channel you're viewing this from, thank you all for your love and support and comments. The energy that is the five has been very prevalent today. Today being another 555 portal as we move through the end of May. Today is the 23rd of May, 2021. So I was feeling their energy very strongly today in the repeating 555 energies. And so we've got the 5 of May, the number 5 for May, the number 23 is 5, 2021 is 5, and the date equals 15. So we've got this fourth 5 vibration in there as well. The date together then, if you reduce it, 1 to 1 and 5 equals 6, and so the date total is 6. So I was feeling this interesting 55555 vibration. Also the idea of sacred geometry and the number 6. There was some messages early that came through. If you're unfamiliar with the language of light languages, for the past 6 years or so, I've been sharing along with my journey on an opening contact. Light language has been a big part of that. So I started my channel of Languages of Lights, really expanding on that idea of light language. And yet it was an integral, crucial part of my awakening process, my opening contact to my celestial beings, my guides, my physical, non-physical guides, and then all of these other energies and entities and information started coming in. And so I was also then guided to open up to the idea of bringing some of that archetypal information and energy through the idea of the symbols, light codes, words, the language of light, how we use words, how higher dimensional beings enjoy playing with us and our words and our language. everything is a language of light, because light is all creation, and yet we're all expressing ourselves in different ways, all over creation as a language of light. So all of this is really intertwined. And so it was part of my opening contact to all of these other channels of information. And so the five, and so to clarify, which they'll probably clarify a little bit as well, but it's not that there are five beings, it's the collective energy of the number five, and what it has to do with the human collective consciousness, the human, that also has 5 letters. So they're having fun with playing with me with these letters of words with 5 letters, and how they're exploring how we create our reality using our words, and how all this other information comes through with relation to opening contact to these other dimensions, because these are 5th dimensional beings as they've described themselves to me, and they almost do have this kind of a, I want to say, I guess if I had to put a color on it, I guess it feels like blue energy. And so the idea of connecting with Sirius, the blue star Sirius, the Sirius star system, and then the idea of light language and opening our throat chakra. And so all of this really comes into play today, and playing with the cards. And so actually Dave was inspired to pull, so we talked about pulling all the cards that I have, the decks of cards that I have, and pulling the number 5 cards out of all the decks, and just to see what happens and see what comes up and all the messages in the number 5 of all the decks of cards. And so we pulled 6 decks, and then the idea was to pull all of the number 5 cards in those decks. Even I got a few surprises today, which I didn't even realize.
And I also wanted to just quickly mention that we're going to put a link to the Languages of Lights page, the YouTube page, maybe somewhere around here, around now.
And we also have Open Contact TV website, opencontacttv.com. So we've been playing with that, and feel free to drop by. We've got a little setup there, so you can kind of cast your energetic, etheric vote, if you will, for open contact. And the idea that opening contact to other star families, other species, we know they exist, they're right around us, helping, guiding, supporting us, and the things that I've learned through my journey, in my connecting with all of them. And so the part of the fun of all of this is, how do we expand and grow through the things that I've learned in my experiences, and the things that helped me open contact with all of them, and different energies and entities and collective consciousnesses. So that's kind of the gist of all of this in a nutshell. So excuse me for just a minute.
And I also want to remind you that casting your energetic vote for open contact does not mean you're specifically limiting yourself to any particular beliefs, because everyone has their own idea of what open contact means to them. And we wanted to have somewhere, which we put on the opencontacttv.com website, a way to cast your energetic vote for collectively inviting the idea of this open contact. And the great thing about it is, by not putting yourself in a box, you're also voting for all the things that have to come with the idea of open contact, which is freedom and equality for all, the idea of higher consciousness, everything, the desire to meet these higher consciousness beings at least halfway, if not more, which of course expands and grows your own consciousness and awareness, and all the things that people talk about, that they want the world to be a better place. It has to be that way for open contact to happen. So
Absolutely.
by simply agreeing to the idea of open contact and wanting that, the issue of politics, the issue of protecting our planet, the issue of space travel and
Free energy.
free energy, all the technology that would go along with that. And of course, if we really wanted to, and it was part of your journey, you could probably close your eyes and open them up and just be in that reality. But apparently, the fun is getting there. So we'll get to see all the little steps of getting there. And we certainly want to accelerate those steps as much as possible. And we're seeing that. We're seeing that in our lives. And you're probably seeing that too if you take a few moments and pay attention to them. So you certainly don't need to go and vote on our webpage, but it's pretty cool to do it.
Just for fun.
And you could also just mentally say you want to vote for it. You could also write on a piece of paper, like, I don't know where our little guy is.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's up
on our first video, we actually had a little form that you just check off, open contact. But
it's up there. You probably can't see it from here, but
you could write down on a piece of paper, I'm voting for open contact.
and that's it.
So
Just for fun.
and certainly
It tells the universe that's what I want.
if enough people are voting for open contact, it will happen. Has to. So we want to enjoy that with all of you as soon as possible.
And that's really where my journey began, was connecting, opening contact with my angelic guides, the Elohim, and then I started channeling the collective consciousness that came to me, the emissaries of the light collective, which they lovingly said, yes, you can call us Emily, just to shorten that up a little bit. So that was really the idea behind that. So, and then just from there, meeting groups of people, other people that were opening up to this idea of channeling and speaking these other languages that were connecting us to different aspects of ourselves, archetype energy, geometry, sacred geometry. So one of the things that I wanted to begin to share with all of you is when I began my journey in opening contact specifically with and intentionally with the entire Sasani collective consciousness, the channel that Daryl Anka, that channels Bashar, is of the Sasani civilization, the third hybrid race. And so we begin to talk about hybrid races, hybridization, open contact, the idea of the 5 hybrid races. If you're unfamiliar with that, I suggest that I invite you to, if it so interests you, to, I know, if it so interests you to
There are no coincidences.
Explore Bashar.org's website and these videos that are related. I typically will put links to the particular videos that we're talking about. So I got like a little bug bite here, so I'm itching if that's distracting. Sorry.
Got that out of my system.
So and so part of the things that were part of my open contact also were, of course, also being in nature, but the idea that the sacred circuitry and how sacred geometry and these symbols that came to us through them to connect us with the Sirius energy and the triad energy of the Essassani planet, Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse, they're balancing energies. And so the understanding and intentionally wanting to connect with all of those things by utilizing these symbols that were given to us, these sacred circuits. And as we begin to realize how when we began to play with these, it literally changes and alters the circuitry, rerouting, opening up new circuitry in our brains that allows us to literally open up further contact with all of ourselves, and to begin to realize that the other parts of ourselves and the extended tree from source, which the five want to share just a little bit about that. And the idea that we all literally are from the same one beautiful tree of source, the tree of life. And so these symbols that were shared with all of us are 15 symbols, 1 through 15. And so significance today is that the number 15 is manifest. So this is an invitation for me, for Dave, for all of you, to manifest further open contact with our higher minds, our higher selves, and therefore the invitation to open contact with other beings, star systems, our interstellar families, our galactic families, and oftentimes the way we do this is through archetypal energies, through information, through intuitive information that comes through the guidance that one would receive and create an oracle card for all of us to tap into more fully, more of ourselves. And so the number 15, being 1 and 5, also invites us to center ourselves. And I always want to make sure I got these right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, express ourselves. Express. And number 6. Sorry, I got them out of order. Extend. So when we are centered and expressing ourselves and extending our consciousness out, we become more open contact receivers and transmitters. And one day, Dave reads Hebrew. And
a little bit.
Just a little, yeah. He's being very modest, very modest. So one day I was inspired to take these sacred circuits from Sirius and create a combination of the symbol along with the translation into Hebrew of the number, as well as the translation of what the number represents, the word itself. Because one of the fun things about the 5, the collective, is words. Even the words, the word words has 5 letters. And so they're very excited about how we use words as a means of opening contact with source and using them as breadcrumbs. And so I wanted to share this chart sort of thing with you that maybe Dave can explain a little bit how he created it. And I'll put a close-up of this also on the respective websites and social media, so you guys can grab a copy of it as well.
Well, the idea was just in Hebrew having showing the word that represents the English equivalent as best as I could figure, because words translate a little differently in different languages, but also the Hebrew numeric equivalent of each of the values. So number 5 is He. The letter He has a lot of significance in the Hebrew language, and you could look that up. We have. There was an awful lot that we found. And also, the word in Hebrew, lahavia, has 5 letters, which is funny.
Oh, that's kind of funny. Funny coincidence.
So, I'll just show you quick.
Yeah, it's really bright out.
I don't know if the video's backwards on the recording.
Oh, that's right.
But, and I did fix this chart, by the way.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I had 4 and 5 mixed up with the symbol.
So yes, in previous videos, for just as a side out to all of my languages of lights viewers, as we've showed this many times, we realized that they were transposed, and so it's been fixed.
So that's why we waited to post the chart on the website, because it turns out that we had a mistake.
We need to fix it.
So we have 5, 6, 15. Do we want to look at the cards?
Yeah, so I wanted to grab, so what we did was we just pulled the decks, pulled the cards out that had the number 5 on them, and just to see what messages are going to come through. So we're going to share them as quickly as possible, and that we hope that you receive and integrate all the information that comes through these cards today on this 5 portal. And that being that the number 5 represents the human being and all of creation, this is a very important day to maximize and magnify and amplify this energy today, to allow the integration for more open contact, more fully within yourselves. So
I want to start with the most complicated one, the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Howland. And what we found out, interestingly, is there are actually 6 different categories of cards, each having their own set of numbers. So when we were looking at the at the deck,
to my surprise,
I'm like, there's 2
there's
5s.
2 5s.
Wait, there's 3 5s.
There's 4.
So I'm gonna read these in the order that they are in the book, and essentially there are major arcana cards, then there are minor arcana cards, and the minor ones are separated into physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Then there's a chakra card. So we have actually 5 cards plus the energy card. And so we'll show them in the order that they are. So this is the major category, number 5.
Wisdom.
So, and I'm just going to be quick about this. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This card illustrates that there's a spiritual teacher who is about to influence you or step into your life to impart his or her wisdom. Look around. Somebody's there.
And remember, these messages are for all of you to assist you in opening contact. So
the next one
I love this. I love the synchronicities.
Another number 5.
Financial and material changes.
So this number 5 physical card represents changes, challenges, and could be losses, usually related to material or financial concerns. You may be losing some of the things around you, but you must acknowledge and know that besides existing as a physical being, you are an incredible and resourceful spiritual entity. So that's an interesting message.
And I love that it's the hand and the 5. I love it.
And the next one
this is a big synchronicity. You guys keep this image in mind.
The next one is the emotional card. Number 5 again. How about that? Emotional loss. The number 5 emotions card comes forth at a time when you may be experiencing or grieving a loss of someone or something you were emotionally attached to. Honor your feelings. Only by healing and loving yourself and letting go of the past can you continue your journey. So maybe many of us are feeling this.
This is definitely a message. Well, all of these are going to be messages for all of us. So I'm already resonating, of course, with every one of these. So
the next one is the mental. another number 5.
And it's interesting when I saw this, I was getting actually some messages about this idea. Conflict and despair.
So this is the number 5 mental card represents significant learning and change, and how you handle yourself at this time is vital to your overall well-being. So the idea is, which state of being do you want to be in?
Oh, big message for me.
Because open contact is about choosing the state of being.
Yes, it is.
That is
it's about
the
frequency.
higher vibration.
It's all about frequency.
And the last of the
Ups.
minor
Arcana.
is
Which this is not the
which
tarot,
is-
so it's kind of interesting that it uses the word
which is
Arcana.
the spirit, obstacles
and challenges.
This card represents the obstacles, power struggles, and challenges that you must face in order to overcome them. So the idea too is, spiritually, we want to have these challenges,
Yes.
so we can overcome them,
Yes.
and find a higher vibrational means by which we overcome these challenges that in the past, our fake past, other lives, whatever, we might have chosen different ways of doing things. Now that we're becoming more enlightened, higher vibrational, we could choose better ways, more preferred ways of overcoming these obstacles. And now we have the opportunity not only to do it, but to connect with other versions of ourselves, which could include open contact ETs, which often are other versions of ourselves, to
Absolutely.
bring in their
Yes.
energies to show us how can we overcome these challenges and obstacles in a higher dimensional way.
Very, very well put. Very, very well put.
See, you don't have to
and
say anything.
it's amazing how the information just flows through when you're receiving it. And I love this last one, of course, as well, because
the
it was
sixth
very
card.
synchronistic.
Of course. Blue.
And the throat chakra.
This chakra, of course, is located in the throat area. Communication, sound, creativity, and the ability of clairaudience, inner hearing, are associated with it.
Inner hearing.
Many artists, speakers, writers, singers, and individuals involved in the creative arts will often have active throat chakras.
And as you can see, I've been clearing my throat quite a bit today.
To balance and stimulate this energy center, try humming, chanting, or singing out loud. So,
And that's part of how light language, and let's talk about our ancestors and guides and chanting and drumming, and that is how they connected with the spirit realms, is through sound, through channeling, through chanting, through music, through dance. So this whole idea of the throat chakra is absolutely a part of opening contact and having a conversation with your higher self. I did a video earlier today on Languages of Light's channel about that, about the 5 coming through and talking about that. And so it's kind of funny about the blue and images. And as I was hearing the messages, as Dave was talking to, and as we were pulling these cards, when we are at our deepest conflict and despair, because of our challenges, we do have emotional loss that comes with letting go of belief systems that really don't serve us anymore. And so we do feel an emotional loss, even though it's for our growth and expansion. And so oftentimes the result when we and oftentimes we have an emotional loss when we have financial changes, and yet we often understand one way or the other, we learn that is part of the process, the leaving the other things behind in order to make room for new things, and the wisdom that we gain from that, and how we open up our throat chakra, our voice, our inner heart, and opening contact with more of all that we are.
Now, it does talk about the idea that when you open up your throat chakra, don't be surprised if you have a higher sense of artistic inspiration. And of course, the value is always in the sharing, so we appreciate the sharing of all these things, including the cards. And I just happened to go to this page, so I'm going to mention it, about the artists of this deck.
Oh, excellent.
So we know that John Howland created the deck, but oftentimes we don't find out so much about the artists.
That's
the
true.
artwork. So the front of the cards were created by John Matson.
Is that the front or back? Front?
Who attended Milwaukee High School of Arts
Oh,
in Milwaukee.
how exciting.
And the back of the cards, which is called Fractal River Paradigm, is by artist Van Dorn Hinnant.
Interesting.
From North Carolina. Greensboro, lived in New York.
Interesting.
Czechoslovakian-born German artist Joseph Werner.
Yeah, the images.
So he worked for that guy. So
the images in these decks are really are outstandingly detailed. Can you guys see here the picture in the back of the family?
currently teaching at Duke.
Really?
So we want to honor and thank and be appreciative of all the artists involved in all the decks.
Yes, I agree with you. Because they're the ones that tell the story for us to receive the information. And even this chakra colors in these cards. There's so much detail. The sacred geometry, the seashells.
And a reminder that when creating this artwork, they are also channeling. So
absolutely.
They are receiving information to share with all of us. And of course, everything is created in the now. So each one of these images that we see is perfectly and exactly designed for us now.
Look at the symbol on where he's walking. Like the phoenix rising, and realizing that your enlightenment comes from your obstacles, stepping over your fears. So anyway, I was just really just admiring all of this, and it's funny because in the darkest despair is when you see the light, and that is a fact. So, which one do we want to bring up next? Do we want to? I just saw 3303.
I'm going to save this one for last. Let's do.
Okay, that's a good one.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
The Secret Languages of Light. For all you Languages of Light fans.
The Secret Languages of Light, yes.
Oh, and number 5.
Oh, and look, you guys, look at the synchronicity in the image. So it's number 5 is healing. And
illuminated by love and truth.
There's wings up here. It looks just like a little bit of what he was stepping over.
Imagine breathing starlight into your heart and embracing all that you allow or resist.
Wow, I love how the sun is shining on these images. This is awesome. And so much sacred geometry. That was another thing that the 5 were talking to me today, which I think they're going to share a little bit about the sacred geometry.
Weird or difficult circumstances can often be the fast track path to your desires.
Oh my God, if I did not need to hear that.
So I'm not reading
Okay, that's enough because that was the message we all needed to hear. Oh my goodness.
About the artist.
Oh.
Daniel B. Holman. Daniel is inspired to assist others in aspiring to their unique purpose and gift and living their fullest potential. Born and raised in San Jose. currently in California.
Excellent.
Gold country. So, thank you, Daniel.
That's nice. Yeah, these images are awesome. I
This was-
actually love all of the decks for all different reasons.
Queen of the Moon Oracle.
And so
Stacey DeMarco.
basically what I did was went through all my decks that had numbered decks, the reason I chose this one specifically is because the full moon's coming. It's a lunar eclipse. It's a super moon. So it's a flower moon. The 5 love representing themselves and about connecting with flowers and 5 petals and so forth. So, oh no, are you kidding? Well, this will be interesting to share with you guys. So that was the kind of the inspiration behind that. And then this is the back of the card with the moon cycles and the symbols in the corners.
Number 5, Waxing Crescent 3.
Growth. Look at the growth that we're all experiencing when we open contact with our higher selves and our galactic families and with Earth and nature and the trees.
Reject stagnancy. To get unstuck, take action. The choice to grow should be made. And it says, think or say, I choose growth.
That's funny.
I'm going to hold on to you for this one. Think of a willow tree.
No.
Willows often grow on sandy banks of highly shiftable and changeable rivers, yet they reach huge sizes.
No way.
Successfully growing and holding fast in an unpredictable habitat. How do they do that?
Well, there's a lot of synchronicities with that, which very quickly we'll share with you. The books by Daryl Anka, Shards of the Shattered Mirror, have a character in it named Willa. However, she says when she first came through, you would know me in your time as she's a being 700 years upline from us, and she said her name is Willow in our time. And so I've been surrounded by willow trees all of my life. And when you see what I drew and the information that I got from the 5 is very, very similar to this card. So it's.
And again, we want to honor the illustrator, a woman named Kinga Breshedgi, a Hungarian artist.
Gorgeous. Very intricate. I love this, and I love it. And she's holding a stopwatch. I mean a pocket watch.
She's really good with Photoshop, it says.
That's awesome.
Okay, what was
This
this?
is awesome.
You can keep that card there.
Yeah.
And now, did we do this one?
No, and actually, I really like this deck a lot. It's got a lot happening. So if you want to kind of.
This one doesn't have a book, right?
No, there's no book
Okay.
with this one.
Conscious Spirit. Oh, here we go. Written and illustrated.
By Kim Dreyer. So
Yeah.
she wrote and illustrated all of them. And this deck are also very intricate. I love the messages in
It says it
here.
has a guidebook.
Oh, you know what?
Not in here.
It's it's very small
Okay.
and yeah, anyway. And the back of these cards as another symbology. Look at the sacred geometry. So we've also got the tree, the chakra systems, the sacred geometry, the moon cycles, the wings, DNA. There is so much intricacy in the symbols on the backs of this card, and the symbology. So I really, really like this deck a lot. And this particular one is the root chakra. I have everything I need to survive and grow. And we just had the growth card, and grow on the physical plane. So we're talking about manifestation and abundance and material gain. And connecting to our galactic roots, learning more about our galactic DNA. It's very interesting, the synchronicities here with, and I didn't look at any, we didn't look at any of the cards, but we just pulled the number fives and just got them all ready to go. So I'm just looking at a lot of the synchronicities, and the colors of this card too are the same colors, almost the same colors as the plants out of the trees, the flowering bushes outside. So remembering that when we're connecting to the earth energy, and connecting with our elements and our root chakra, we really picture ourselves wrapping our own roots around earth, and hers around us. The reminder of the tree collective, that all of the roots beneath the surface of the planet, this is such a weird light, beneath the surface of the planet are all interconnected. They talk to us. Every time we breathe, they breathe. They breathe in our information, and then they receive it, send it back out to the cosmos and all the other trees, and out to every other plant, what I'm going to say, part of the plant consciousness collective, everywhere, in every when, in every now. And it's like this beautiful cycle of energy, of this connection, of contact with all that is, through the trees and through us, and this beautiful root connection. So
and it's just funny because, if we read all these cards ahead of time, maybe I would be better prepared. But talking back about the willow spends a lot of time establishing a veritable root city under the surface. The roots are long and strong and very numerous, finding their way into many nooks and crannies, holding onto the rocks, other established tree roots, and anything that could help with their stability. The roots go off in all directions, thus securing their position just in case the earth begins to shift. Then and only then, once these root networks are established well enough, does a willow put its energy into further growth. So obviously, there's a connecting
connecting message here. So very, very interesting.
So the next one is going to be Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle.
And here we're talking a lot about numerology, sacred geometry, and the five. Are really excited about this idea of the connections with sacred geometry and our own light circuitry and numbers, and how it reflects us, and how we play with numbers, and how we use them to represent themselves, and how they are excited about being who they are.
So I just wanted to look at this before I said it, but this is, of course.
Of course. So now I love them. Now the backs of the cards, blue,
is also,
and sacred geometry, and the flower of life, which also happens to be the card. And 5 is throat chakra. The frequency of the throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and express. This is number 5. And our sense of peace and balance. And peace is another word that the 5 like, because it's got 5 letters, and it's just a beautiful energetic. The energy of it is a beautiful word.
So it does represent the flower of life. And so in this particular deck of cards, the first 7 cards do relate to the chakras. So
I see. Okay.
So of course, that would make sense. The flower of life is a geometric shape recognized by many cultures all over the planet. It consists of 13 equal circles that intersect at the middle of each circle, creating a perfectly proportioned flower. It supports self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. The blue flower of life.
And much of the contact that we have, that we don't even realize with other beings, higher dimensional beings, the elements, the elementals, is through flowers. And so this is one of the reasons why we use the flower and the flower of life and trees as symbology for opening contact.
I'm just looking to see if they talk about the artists here. So this says Lon, who I guess is the name of this guy.
I believe it's yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it? Wait, there it is. Lon.
So
it's a woman.
So it's a woman.
There it is. So we said guy, but there she is. Okay. Awesome.
There we go.
Oh, that's a good shot.
So it says she is the author and artist living in San
Beautiful.
Diego, California.
San Diego, California.
She now creates sacred geometry art images.
Well, that's very exciting, and I'm very grateful to all of these artists and creators of these decks to allow us to open up contact with more of all that we are and share it with all of you.
And lastly, the Galactic Heritage Cards by Lisa Royal Holt, illustrated by David Cow. Number 5. So
Ooh.
I am just going to let Wendy talk about this.
So
card.
here's the back. So this is some pretty. I love the imagery on here. The connectedness to parallel realities and other dimensions. I really love the imagery. This card is number 5, fluidity, the Andromeda, and parallel. So immediately the what I get, of course, is connecting with mine and yours, and Andromeda, and Andromedan fractal of ourselves, if we will, in a parallel reality right now. Opening contact, and I highly suggest, I'll put a link to Lisa's YouTube channel, where she goes into detail of each and every one of these cards. And I highly recommend that all of you watch all of the videos on her channel, and as she explains these cards, it opened up contact in me, and literally helped me bring through the 5. Just the energy of her channeling these cards, our interaction with these cards, and our opening contact with other aspects of ourselves that are literally living in parallel lives right now, because everything's right now. There is no the past and the future are perceptions of simply of our consciousness. And so what do you want to add on there out of the book? Is there something that I know? There's got to be something. There's got to be something.
Of course, I want to read this. So we get to use the book as a permission slip to be able to share with all of you messages that we have been receiving ourselves in many different ways that sometimes we just don't want to hear sometimes. The nature of consciousness is to be fluid, to flow with the natural currents of the universe. But life in a physical body often causes us to be rigid, whether in beliefs, actions, or emotions. Andromedan consciousness is very fluid also. You know how to be this way innately as well. Take some time every day to connect with the Andromeda energy and practice going with the flow. See how your life changes when you don't try to control your reality. This isn't about becoming a victim. Let yourself surf the universal energy instead of trying to control it. See what happens.
That's funny. Well, I have to say that this is really funny because he's laughing because he knows how much that message is for me. And some of
and I didn't just say that; it's actually written.
Some of those are so that is very interesting. I'm looking for a particular card that I had written here.
But that idea also sums up a lot of what we saw with the other cards.
I don't have it in front of me. Oh, where is it? And the interesting thing is I had, okay, so one of the things that I was going to share with all of you is that, well, these are some of the symbols that I use in opening contact. And Dave bought these hexagon shaped, which this is part of today's message, and equaling number 6 is the hexagon shaped cards that he got me. And I had created these symbols had come to me, galactic symbols. And so I was guided to utilize the sacred geometry of the hexagon. And I will remind everybody too that the Star of David and the Metatron star, which is also the Merkaba, the two intersecting triangles. The center of that is a hexagon, surrounded by 6 triangles, and so the geometry combined with the messages and being able to turn these symbols. And I have more information about this on my Languages of Light's YouTube channel as well as on my website. And so this one in particular, I was just receiving the symbols, and on the back was enhanced self-awareness. So these symbols come through as an opening contact for me as well of enhancing my own self-awareness. So as we read these messages, we're laughing because we have to laugh because it's such a mirror of our frequency right now and what I need to hear and what we need to hear and what you need to hear. And so that's a part of opening contact with our higher selves. And so I was guided to use these, and interestingly enough, I can't find the specific one, but the very first one I ever made was about using your victim voice, and it's funny that we're talking about words and spelling, but the words we use have an energetic effect on us and on our sacred geometry. And so the very first one I made was where are you using your victim voice? And anyway, so that was just a funny synchronicity, and because I've been voicing my victim voice a little bit, so there's the message and all of that. So you have. So I was just sharing some of these act as your higher self. I didn't even finish this one. I didn't put any symbols on it yet, but act as your higher self. And then my pretending drawing of an eye, seeing your own divine wisdom within. So it just is the idea of helping us all grow. And so I wanted to share briefly this is why this is funny, because the 5 had guided me to look up the word spire. So we use the word inspire to raise each other's frequency, to inspire another, to be a guide, to light someone's path, to be yourself and inspire somebody to be okay with being themselves. And it helps us open contact with ourselves and each other in big ways. And so but today they said to use the word spire to explain the idea of there is only one collective unity consciousness, and there's a lot of branches off of that one collective unity consciousness tree. And so it was kind of interesting that they gave me that before I was pulling the cards, or it was shortly after, I think. And so the word spire, one of the definitions is the place on the tree in which the branches begin to extend out. So we use this tree of life, we use sacred geometry, we use the flower of life as that idea that literally everything is connected. Oh, and I was just looking at this little sticker magnet that I was given. Earth Shaman. And one of the first things I received messages from my guides was about being a galactic shaman. Now, at any rate, the idea of that is really the message with everything that's being shared here, and I think on every spiritual channel, is just simply the idea of it. We are all connected. There is one tree that we all came from at some point. And so no matter where your galactic DNA is, it's ultimately every single thing in creation is part of all of the one thing. And so that was really part of the message. And and here we are, 55 timestamp. And so the word spire reminding us too that, again, no matter whether it's up above, below, as above, so below, we're all connected to that same spire, that same, we all come, or a trunk from that same beautiful tree. So I wanted to share that specifically. I do feel like there is a message coming through. I don't know if we want to pause, maybe make it a separate video. I know we've already gotten long on time. I had to laugh about the timestamp, 55. Or just see if they had a brief message.
I think we should hear from the 5 collective.
Okay.
Let's take a moment, for a drink. Everyone take a deep breath. Relax.
So I had to laugh because I came across our little goodie bag of things that we received on the beginning of this year of 2021. Wishing you good fortune and a happy 2021, and reminding us all that 2021 equals the number 5. And so we laugh about that's another thing that we share is our fortunes from our fortune cookies. So that's always a fun thing that to look forward to. So we'll be sharing more of that too. And once again, we value, another word we really like, value and appreciate you and your excitement and your expansion and your sharings in all these ways. As you more and more begin to open more fully the contact with your own space, your own vessel, as you begin to spend more time valuing the parts of all of you. One of the messages that has been coming through more fully as well is this idea of value, and how when you are valuing yourselves or another, you are validating the expression that you are of source. And so many of you undervalue your own expression as source. And there are a variety of symbology in the 5 vibration and 5-letter words. And as you begin more and more to expand yourself and express yourself and become more aware, literally, of the symbols of how you have expressed yourself, and how more and more as you identify with things that once again will remind all of you about the expression of this idea, the number 5, also in your animal species, and how they're often expressed with the idea of also the 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, and how as all of you connect more and more fully with your animal kingdoms and your plants, and when you value these connections more fully, you begin to express yourself in a new way that allows you to identify more fully your connection with more and more of where these ideas and are prevalent in your consciousness. And so we're reminded to share a message that we expressed to the channels about the idea of, for example, metered, and even the idea meter, 5 letters, this idea of metering, of rhythm, of rhymes, of using a numeric beat, if you will, to create a contact with yourself and your body, and with your higher mind. And the haiku poetry form, also 5 letters. In this particular example, the channel has been writing for many years 5, 7, 5 syllable rules of poetry, and was only recently explained in how just the rhythm of creating words in a 5, 7, 5 syllable format, how that alone activates a multitude of layers of your consciousness, in that you are using numbers, the idea of a cadence, searching your consciousness for words to represent an idea in a structured manner, and making every word count, literally and figuratively and expressively, and have it tell a story and contain an element of an expression of nature in some form. So you're activating multiple levels of your senses as you're creating these patterns, as you're creating music, as you're creating rhythms and poetry, and understanding more fully, once again, the shaman within you. and the connectedness to opening contact with with your archetypal energies, your spirit guides, and the layers of consciousness that you're constantly navigating through. So the idea that literally these practices, these enjoyments, these pleasures, when combined, create a new experience for all that is, and anyone reading it as well. You're taking them through a journey of your sound experience, your multi-layered experience of choosing the specific words, but the idea of it structured in a numeric pattern, and how your music replicates these numeric patterns, and how these patterns change the patterns of your light patterns. And so there's so much more that we could share about this. And so reminding all of you to value the spire, value the one tree that you all are, and value your expression of that, your particular branch, and how you choose to express and create your own branches from that one spire, that place where you all branch off from source and create the oversouls and the soul patterns from there, and the themes of exploration, and understanding that all of these reminders are all around you. So as you connect to one idea, it promotes the connection to the other branches of all that is. And you'll more and more begin to understand that there simply is no separation to anything at all. It's simply the divinity, the magic, another word we love, the magic of consciousness itself, of source itself, expressing itself as all of us and all of you. And even our excitement is vibrating in this energy of 5, and that we find you all here. So once again, we thank you for holding our hands through the journey of our own ascension process. And as we play with you and experience your perspectives, we also ascend and grow, and experience our own awareness, and opening more contact of all that we are, and knowing more of all that you are, as you all express yourselves as this beautiful beautiful branch of the one tree. So we thank you all. Ya lise no bahala uono bahaya vahe mo o ahana ela hukomaya levishise e ena tiata.
And I'm reminded that while there might be a limited set of 5-letter words, a finite set of 5-letter words in our dictionary and in all the languages, everyone speaks them uniquely, and together there's actually an infinite amount of ways to express even just those 5-letter words.
Indeed.
So thank you for your wonderful messages and your co-creation.
I love you so much. Yeah, gosh, I do. Well, thank you for opening contact with us. And thanks for visiting us. Thanks for visiting both of our channels. And both of us channels.
Thank you for your co-creation with us.
Yes, very much.
And until next time. 5. We love you.